Yet another Bengals starter will end the season on injured reserve. Langston Moore is the 18th player overall to suffer a season-ending injury. The Bengals are playing to avoid taking a step backward from last year's 8-8 finish. Come what may, and perhaps to Cincinnati's advantage, the Eagles will play on after Sunday.
You really have to put that out of your mind and just prepare like they're going to, play the whole game and prepare like, they're going to play the game as if it's meaningful. And if they don't, then you adjust from there. But you can't go the other way. You have to prepare yourself like you're going to get their best shot.
Again, John Kitna to start Sunday. Carson Palmer could play if necessary. Rudy Johnson is 81 yards shy of the Bengals' single-season rushing record, and Cincinnati is a 3-point.
The voice of the Bengals, Brad Johansson, goes under the helmet tonight with TJ Hushmanzada. Our Who Asked You gang offers their thoughts on the season finale. And we'll bring you highlights, scores, and fantasy facts all in the next half hour. So consider watching this show every Sunday night as your New Year's resolution. Cautious of injuries after Pro Bowl wide receiver Terrell Owens went down with torn ankle ligaments, the Eagles hold out several players for today's game. The list includes quarterback Donovan McNabb, running back Brian Westbrook, free safety Brian Dawkins, defensive end Javon Curse, and cornerback Lito Shepard. So it's Philly junior varsity against the Cincinnati varsity today, and it shows. Let's go to Marshall Harris for all the highlights. Marshall?
Harvey, the pressure was on the Bengals not just to beat a team of second and third stringers, but also to finish the year 8-8, avoid a losing record. Plus, it's a chance for Rudy Johnson to make his mark in what could be his last appearance in orange and black.
You gotta throw me the ball today. Somebody throw me the ball today.
Number 32, Rudy Johnson.
Local 12 photographer Jeff Barnhill was at Lincoln Financial Field. Rudy Johnson just 81 yards shy of the single-season Bengals record. After 2 3-and-outs, the Bengals are on the move. On 3rd and 10 from the 22, John Kitna to TJ Hushmanzada for a 20-yard pickup. He had 6 carries, catches for 71 yards. Early second quarter, Rudy Johnson caps off the 13-play, 89-yard drive by running it in from 5 yards out. 7-0 Bengals. After good field position, sets up a short field for John Kitna. He takes advantage. TJ Hushmanzada with a 22-yard touchdown reception. Kitna 16 of 27, 160 yards in the score, 14-0. And then the Bengals defense takes over. Justin Smith puts the hurt on Coy Detmer, forces the fumble with the sack, and then falls on it. But the Bengals fail to score on a missed Shane Graham field goal. More problems for Philly's backup QB. This pass picked off by Torrey James for his 8th interception of the year, and James nearly loses it on the 10-yard run back. That sets up Grimm for redemption. The 50-yard field goal is perfect. 17-0 Bengals. Under a minute to go in the half. Eagles driving, but Kevin Hardy neutralizes Detmer by putting him on his back. Sack helps keep Philly to a field goal. It's 17-3 at the break. Third quarter, Detmer has the Eagles threatening, looking for Greg Lewis, but Delta O'Neill's looking for an opportunity. In the end zone, his 4th pick of the season, saves 6. In comes former Bengal Jeff Blake, and he's not doing much better than Detmer. On his first throw, the screen bounces off his own lineman right to Robert Gathers. He takes the INT 36 yards to the HOUSC. The rookie's first career pick makes it a 24-3 game. On the ensuing kickoff, Roderick Hood tripped up by that blade of grass. Ball comes loose. Marcus Wilkins recovers at the Eagles' 15, one of 5 Bengals takeaways on the day. More Rudy up the middle on 3rd and 1. He's got the 1 and 4 more. Second touchdown of the day in less than 2 minutes. The Bengals get 2 scores. It's 31-3. Fourth quarter, Rudy approaching the team's single-season rushing record. This should help. 25 yards on the rumble out to midfield. And then he finishes off the drive. The only way he knows how. Up the middle from 3 yards out for his 3rd touchdown of the day. 38-3 Bengals. Now 38-10. The man of the hour, of course, Rudy. Up the middle for 6 yards on a record-breaking run. 28 carries, 99 yards in the game. The exclamation point on a 38-10 blowout win. The Bengals finish 8-8 for the 2nd straight season. So here are your single-season team records. Rudy shatters a couple of Corey Dillon's marks with 361 carries and 1,454 rushing yards. Graham's 122 points, one better than Doug Pelfrey in 1995. And Chad and TJ set a new high for receiving yards by a duo. Inside the locker room, we find a team upbeat about finishing the season strong, along with a record-breaking running back who says Cincinnati is the place where he wants to continue to play.
It was never a point I didn't think I was going to get it. I had too many people pulling for me. So, You know, after every drive, my offensive line came over, talked to me. We got things straight to what we need to do and what corrections we need to make it happen, and we did that.
All season long, Rudy has been pretty consistent at making a lot of tough yards and making guys miss within the hole and running hard, running tough, and he continued to do that today. We didn't do the best job, particularly early on, in knocking them off the football. But he made some good yards early and some tough yards. But as we, down the stretch there, being able to have the lead and run the football helped us today.
I wanted to be here, of course. We all know that. I've been saying that from day one. So I've done my part, did everything I can do for this season. So now I just leave it up to the Bengals, the front office, and leave it up to my agent and see what happens.
Offensively, we got two guys that we need to figure out what we're going to do with. And of course, we hope that they're both going to be back. But you never know. In this league, you never know what's going to happen. So, it's an exciting team. It's an explosive team. If we get Peter back and we re-sign TJ and Rudy, it puts a smile on your face just thinking about it because we could be extremely explosive. But, we'll wait and see what happens.
Our 12 sports game ball goes to Rudy. 28 carries, 99 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a new team record for carries and yards in a season. Harvey, time for the fans to make the call.
Marshall, thank you very much. Tonight, you make the call at home. 8-8. Do you consider this season a success? Yes or no? Good enough, or did the Bengals have to make the playoffs to make you happy? Pick up the phone right now. Call us, 345-1212. We'll have your results coming up.
Thank you. Joined by 1360 homer, the sports animal, angry guy Richard Skinner, and Bengal great Joe Walter. Gentlemen, the season is over. The poll question is 8-8 a success? And I think a lot of fans actually think at this juncture 8-8 is a success. Joe, I'll lead off with you.
Man, I get to go first.
Is
this time?
8-8 a
wow,
success?
You all right? You gonna be able to go first?
Go ahead.
Wow, a success.
Okay, you're done.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, yeah, it's a huge success. I think it's a great success when you get Carson in there, number one. Getting to play most of the season, plays well, grew up a lot during the season, got the team around him, the team was supporting him. I think it's a huge, huge year for these guys. I look forward to going into next year.
It is kind of fun to say wait till next year now, isn't it? Do you call it a success?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I would have loved to have seen Carson finish the deal. I would have loved to have seen the last 3 games and seen the continued progression and then felt better. I mean, today's game, was this the last preseason or they got one more after
Yeah,
this?
it was,
that
was kind of scary,
bizarre.
wasn't it?
And the Giant game was almost, I don't want to say a miracle comeback, but it was a heck of a catch on 4th down by TJ to keep that alive. And your record is what it is, because let's face it, early in the season when Carson was breaking in, they had chances in the 4th quarters of a lot of games where he could have made plays and simply put, failed to make plays. And the hope would be get some extra personnel, as we talked about all year long, build on what he did, and maybe now he can lead those comebacks in the 4th quarter like he did against Baltimore. And the sky's the limit for him, the offense, and hopefully the football team.
Rudy Johnson did what Corey Dillon was not able to do. He is now your single-season yard gainer. And, with another yard, he would have done what Corey wasn't able to do with 6 touchdowns, 6 100-yard games. He had 12 touchdowns this year. Corey was never able to do that. Is he a Corey Dillon type back? Is he a guy that you have to have for long term?
I think so. I think you've got to keep this team together. Said a lot last week when Willie came out and said, hey, rework my contract. We need these guys to stay. Rudy's a great back. He showed that. He proved that this year. He's durable. He hits the holes. He runs hard. He's a guy that's good for the team. Just watching on TV today and watching everybody who was wrapping around him. Great team guy. That's a guy you need on this team. Yeah, you need to get him in there.
I just think people have this thought process in their mind that everybody has a Kansas City offensive line, has a Denver offensive line where you can just plug in. And while this offensive line got better, that just doesn't happen across the board in the NFL. You need that combination. You need the guys up front to block, but you also need a running back that's capable, and they just don't grow on trees as easy as I think fans think that they do. So, yeah, I think you got to bring Rudy back.
Really? I'm intrigued to hear you say that. Here's what I'm thinking, especially after watching the first half today. And Joe, you can talk to this. Richie Graham makes a huge difference in the running game. You look at the games Richie Graham is in and the games Richie Graham is not in, and the running game is drastically different. And probably people don't understand what a center does. Richie Graham probably has to be signed for 1 more year, even if he's barely walking.
Yeah, at least for 1 more. You're going to have him around. He is the leader of that whole offensive line, really the whole offense. Without him, the quarterbacks, he actually helped Carson this year. He was actually the quarterback on the field for Carson to show the defenses, call them out, get him lined up, and let everybody know where they're going, which way they needed to go. And on the running game, you can just tell he knows, he's been around the system forever, whereas the other guy, I've drawn a blank, he doesn't know it. He's not getting it done, and you can tell it's a huge, huge difference in there.
Yeah, and that's where, again, I mean, keep what your core is intact. There's no reason to let someone on this club walk. There's not 1 ounce of reason if you do this from the salary cap perspective of maybe looking towards the future or having a couple guys restructure, maybe having dead money in 07, 08, 09 and playing with that, because your window of opportunity is here. It is now. It is this offseason when you build to start going to the playoffs. And if you fail to capitalize, well, then you'll be stuck in 8-8 and 6-10 and 7-9.
You're probably going to be picking at number 18. You're dealing with a schedule you already know already. The extra games that you throw in, they're going to be going to Kansas City, and Buffalo is going to come here with the extra games. You're going to be playing the NFC North in addition to all of that. You're going to have an easier schedule than you did this year. You're also going to have some coaching questions. Do you keep this entire core together because you've gone 8-8 2 years, or do you say, you know what, there are still a few things that we can work on?
Oh, man. There's always going to be things they can work on, you know, with the staff and the core guys there. You know, I don't know. These players seem to be playing for them game in and game out. You know, you see, I don't know if they're playing for Marvin or the staff. That's a hard one. That's a tough question.
Well, I mean, the question is, too, is how big do you define the core? I mean, is Kevin Hardy part of that core? I don't think so, but I certainly think that there's not one person on that offense that's not part of that core. I mean, that offense was that good when the ball started rolling in almost every facet of the game you wanted it to be. Now, obviously, there is no question based on who you play in your division, the fact you're going to play Kansas City, which we know can run the ball. Buffalo and McGahee got to go and can run the ball. Green Bay can run the ball. Minnesota can run the ball. Detroit, they found their running back in Kevin Jones as the year went along. You better find somebody in that middle to start stopping the run. There's your main goals this offseason via the draft, via free agency. That's where you start to attack.
We have to talk more about Rudy, about TJ, whether Nate Webster's your middle linebacker. There will be coaching questions, where you're going to spend your money. Do you trade down from number 18? There are a lot of things to talk about. So why don't we join next week and talk about all of those things as we move into the future. The Bengals finished in 8-8. Guys, you've been fantastic all year. Joe Walter, Richard Skinner, thanks so much for coming, and we'll do it again next week. Harvey, we'll send it back to you.
Tonight, you made the call. Now the results. We asked at 8-8, do you consider this season a success for the Bengals? 69% say yes, you are fine with that record. Another 31% disagree. Thanks if you were one of the more than 600 callers who phoned us here tonight. And welcome back. In 2 seasons, Marvin Lewis has put together a 16-16 record. That's the best mark for the Bengals since the 1989 and 90 seasons. So as they head into the offseason, what game will haunt the head coach?
Well, the Cleveland game, the Tennessee game, you know, both Pittsburgh games, you know, take your pick. We got outplayed by Buffalo at home. You know, there's 5 games right there.
So there's a lot to keep you up at night in the offseason.
There's a lot to keep me up at night. But there's 5 football games that, you know, the turnover in New England where we've got a chance of momentum and so forth, and a chance to go up in front and go play, you know, those kind of things. And that's what makes the difference. When we get to those situations in the future, I want us to handle them better. It's my job to get us to handle them better, point blank.
And there's